Hi everyone, welcome back, and this is our fourth educational vlog. This is the fourth topic in Philippine politics and governance, and again, I am your teacher. I am Educado, Sir Arnold Ryan New Mercado. This time, we're going to discuss another topic, and this is all about states, nations, and globalization. Ano ba pagkakaiba ng tatlo? At ano ba ang bahagi nito sa pinag-aaralan natin? Let's start with a quote from Thomas Jefferson. A nation which expects to be ignorant and free in a taste of civilization expects that which never was and never will be. Next quote from Niccolo Machiavelli from his book Prince. The main foundations of every state, new states as well as ancient or composite ones, are good laws and good arms. You cannot have good laws without good arms, and where there are good arms, good laws inevitably follow. According to Jared Diamond, technology causes problems as well as solves problems. Nobody has figured out a way to ensure that, as of tomorrow, technology won't create problems. Technology simply means increased power, which is why we have the global problems we face today. Somehow, may ibig sabihin ng kanyang binitawang lines. Next. Now, in this lesson, States, Nations, and Globalization, it presents the future role of the states, nation, and globalization in political process. And as you, as my student, you need to understand the evolution of globalization and the ever-changing structure of nation and states in the whole country or in the whole world. Now, let's start with the idea of state. So, ano ba itong state na to? In Tagalog, tinatawag tong estado. Taken from the Latin word stare, which means to stand. Therefore, isang lugar na kayang tumayo sa sarili niyang pamamahala o meron siyang gobyerno. A state is a political community. Again, political community. When we say political community, merong government na nag-govern sa mga tao. That occupies a definite territory. May government, mayroong territory. At syempre, may mga tao. Having an organized government with the authority to make and enforce laws without the consent of a higher authority. Isang lugar na kung saan ay maaaring magpatupad ang isang government sa kanyang mga tao ng batas na hindi niya kailangang kumonsulta pa sa mas nakakataas. Sa Pilipinas, meron kayang ganon? Isipin natin. Meron, di ba? One example is the barangay. May mga bagay na kayang isolve ni barangay na mga petty crimes, like for example, nag-away dahil sa pagnanakaw ng prutas. Pwedeng bigyan solusyon to ng barangay para sa mga mamamayan niya sa isang occupied na territory na nagpapatupad ng mga batas. It is also defined as a self-governing political entity. The term state can be used interchangeably with a country. Usually, ginagamit to sa isang bansa. Yung term na state or estado. Kaya paminsan, napagkakamalan natin, country, state, parehas ba sila? Yes po, kadalasan po yun ang term. Kasi po, ang isang bansa, may government siya. Meron siyang mga taong nag-o-occupy ng isang territory na merong pinapatupad na batas. Remember the three ingredients of state. Territory, na merong batas, may mga taong nakatira doon, at higit sa lahat, merong government na nag-govern sa kanila that enforce the laws. Now, we have the examples of United Nations, the laws of the sea, closed laws of the sea, or ito yung mga teritoryo sa pandagat naman. According to them, the elements of the state is, number one, is yung people, also known as the population or inhabitants. Mga tao na nag-o-occupy sa isang lugar. We also have the territory. Ito namang territory na to refers to the portion of earth which composed of aerial, pwedeng aerial, fluvial or water, or terrestrial or lupa. Lahat yan na na-occupy ng tao ay tinatawag na territory. Another, we also have the maritime terms. We have the territorial sea, coastal states sovereignty including exclusive fishing rights with 12 nautical miles. Therefore, sa pagitan ng dalawang karagatan, merong 12 miles sa pagitan para makapagsagawa ng fishing or karapatang mamingwit o manghuli ng mga isda sa karagatan. We have also the contiguous zone. It's a coastal state can enforce its customs, immigration, and sanitation law and exercise hot pursuit of its territorial waters. Ito naman, 24 nautical miles naman ang cover nito. We have also the EEZ or the Exclusive Economic Zone. States has recognized rights to explore, exploit, conserve, and manage the natural resources. About 200 nautical miles. Sa Pilipinas, meron tayo niyan, yung Exclusive Economic Zone, na may karapatan tayong pangalagaan ng ating mga natural resources. Isa yan sa mga issues natin ngayon between China, na kailangan nating ilaban. Although na ilaban na, pero hindi pa rin kinikilala ng China. So much for that. Another is the continental shelf. Countries have exclusive rights to natural resources up to 315 nanometer. We also have the high seas or beyond EEZ to, lagpas ang konti. Common heritage humankind naman ang term nila dito. Another is yung sovereignty or yung refers to supreme and absolute power within its territorial boundaries. Ito yung kaya nating mag-stand alone or kaya nating tumayo sa sarili natin, self-govern. Types of sovereignty, we have the internal and external. Pag sinabing internal, ito yung power of the state to rule within its territory. Sa loob, kaya niyang pamunuan ang sarili niya sa loob ng kanyang bansa. Another is yung external naman, ito naman yung karapatan ng isang bansa na magsagawa ng kanyang mga activities without subjection or control by the states. Example, may karapatan tayo mag-perform ng pamimingwit sa labas ng EEZ as long as covered siya ng tinatawag na nating high seas. Kasi yun yung tinatawag nating external sovereignty. Karapatan natin yun. Like for example, yung West Philippine Sea, part siya ng high seas natin eh. Therefore, may karapatan tayo na mag-perform na activities natin na hindi dapat kontrolin ng ibang bansa. And we have the different characteristics of sovereignty. One is the absolute from the legal point of view. Another is, it should be permanent, of course. The state is universal. Another is inalienable. It cannot be divided between or shared by a plurality. And last one, sovereignty is exclusive. Another term is the government. It refers to the institution or the agency or the instrumentalities through which the states maintain social order, provide public service, and enforces binding decisions. Isang example niyan ay ang United Nations na nag-govern sa lahat ng mga bansa sa buong mundo. It governs all the governments sa bawat bansa. And in terms of the government, syempre siya yung ahensya na nagpapatupad ng lahat-lahat ng social order, pagbibigay ng public service, and binding all the people sa loob ng bansa niya. Meron siyang iba't ibang forms. Number one is the distribution of power. Paano ba ang distribution of power? Isang example, etong nasa diagram natin, yung central government, na kung saan sa kanya nanggagaling yung power, direct ito sa mga political units or sa states. Ang tawag sa pattern na yan ay federal system din. Yan ay makita sa federal system. We also have yung sa pangalawang picture, halos parehas naman. Yan ay binababa. Kadalasan po, yung distribution of power na yan ay makikita sa federal system. We also have the unitary government power. It is held by one central authority. Ito yung merong isang namumuno na sa kanya nanggagaling lahat ng directives or commands. Hindi naman talaga ganun, pero syempre meron din consensus to sa madlang people. Like for example, Philippines, Denmark, Italy, Finland, Peru, Rwanda. We have also the Confederation. It's a voluntary association of independent states that often only delegate a few powers to the central government naman. Ito naman ay voluntary association, voluntaryo na pagtulong sa mga bansa na nagsosolo or independent states na nagde-delegate ng kapangyarihan sa kanila. Next is the federal government power. It is divided between one central and several regional authorities. Yung kapangyarihan na ikalat na sa bawat states niya. Like for example, dyan is yung United States of America. Ang dami niyang states, may kanya-kanyang pamamalakad na doon. Yun yung isang halimbawa. Pero they are referred as one country. Number 2, citizen participation. Napakahalaga ng partisipasyon ng tao. Meron tayong tinatawag na autocracy. Sa autocracy, it's a form of government wherein one person possesses unlimited power. Authoritative, in short, taga-utos. Siya yung mando, nagmamando ng lahat, gumagawa ng lahat, decision maker, lawmaker, lahat yan sa kanya. Yung mamamayan, limitado lang ang kapangyarihan. Bibigyan sila ng role sa government kung kinakailangan, pero still, the leader pa rin is yung iisa lang na authoritarian niya. The leader is from a family or from a social class from a strong party. Kadalasan, yung mga pinapaupo nila dito ay yung talagang yung bahagi ng mga kilala at mayayamang pamilya. And there are different forms of autocratic government. Ito yung forms niya. Number 1, absolute or totalitarian dictatorship. Medyo masaklap ang part na to kasi ito ay pinumunuan ng isang leader, single leader. Lahat yun, tinatamasa niya lahat. Yung government tries to control all aspects of social and economic life. Lahat yan, kinokontrol niya kahit sa mga mamamayan niya, siya ang masusunod. Total control. Absolute monarchy. Ito naman, kadalasan sa mga fairy tales, king, queens, or emperors, exercises the supreme and unlimited powers of government wherein the position is usually inherited. Ito, may hari, may reyna. Pag nagkaroon sila ng anak, ipapasa ang kapangyarihan. Kapag lalaki, automatically it will be called as the king. Pero kung babae ito, ipagkakasundo to sa isang pamilya na kilala, na monarch din, and they will build a strong family. Another is oligarchy. Ito naman yung gobyerno ng karamihan. Sometimes, a small group exercise control, especially for corrupt and selfish purposes. Yan ay medyo hindi na masyado napapractice ngayon, pero may mga grupo, halimbawa, mga businessmen, sila ay nag-perform ng gobyerno, pero at the end, they will be the one na makikinabang para doon for their own purposes. Next is yung democracy. It's a government based on the consent of the governed. The people are the sovereign. They hold the highest political authority. Ito po, dito po sa government na to, tao ang nasusunod. Tao ang pinakikinggan. Therefore, nasa kapangyarihan ng tao ang karapatan niya masunod at mapakinggan dito. Democracy has two forms, indirect and direct. Sa indirect democracy, or tinatawag siyang representative democracy, ito yung form ng democratic government na people directly elect their leaders. May representative sila. And they perform the governmental functions. Sa direct democracy naman, ito naman yung form ng government na kung saan people will convene in a mass assembly and directly formulate the will of the state. Yung pinapatawag lahat ng mga tao, pagkatapos lahat yon ay binibigyan ng desisyon ukol doon. Legitimacy naman, meron tayong dalawang uri ng legitimacy o yung pag-create ng batas. We have the de jure. It's a form of government wherein it has the people's support and possess constitutional mandate. Dito, sa de jure na to, yung tao ay sumusuporta lamang sa pag-create ng batas na pinoformulate ng gobyerno. Another is yung de facto naman. It's a form of government supported by the people but no constitutional mandate or legal support. Basta naisip lang, yun na yung batas. Example, sa de facto, ang magnakaw, puputulin ng kamay. Yun na yun. Pero pag sa de jure, merong itinalaga at pinag-usapang mga batas. Itong mga batas na to ay pinag-aralang mabuti at hindi basta-basta magbibigay ng parusa sa nagkamali or sa kriminal kung walang pagbabatayang constitution. Another is yung executive and legislative relationship. Dito sa executive and legislative relationship, meron tayong presidential. It's a form of government in which executive branch exits separately from the legislature. Dito, magkahiwalay ang executive branch or nagpapatupad at gumagawa ng batas or legislative branch. Ang example niyan ay ang Pilipinas na kung saan hindi pwedeng mangialam ang presidente sa mga lawmakers kasi siya lang ay nagpapatupad lang din ng batas. Another is yung parliamentary, sa form of government in which members of an executive branch, the cabinet and its leaders, a prime minister, premier, or chancellor are nominated to their position by legislature or parliament and are directly responsible to it. Dito naman sa parliamentary, merong pinuno, yung prime minister, na kung saan may representative siya na presidente, pero yung namumuno pa rin yung prime minister. In an independent state, it has a space or territory which has internationally recognized boundaries. Mahalaga yan. It has also people who live there on an ongoing basis, has the power of social engineering such as education, has a transportation system for moving goods or services, and has a government which provided public service and police power. The origins of the state, meron tayong evolution theory. States evolve from family units na kung saan connected siya dun sa sinasabi nating monarchy. May nagsimulang pamilya, then namana ang kapangyarihan, then pinasa ng pinasa. Another is yung force theory. Governments emerged when people were brought under the control of some power. Dito naman, ginagamitan ng puwersa ng gobyerno para ma-merge sa mga tao and total control sa mga tao. Another is yung tinatawag nating divine right. Ito yung paniniwala na ang mga kings, the emperors, are chosen by the gods. Like for example, Pharaoh, yan, sa Egypt, itinalaga daw sila ng mga Diyos nila para sila ang mamuno sa kanilang bansa. Another is social contract. Sa social contract naman, ito ay nag-exist noong 17th century and during the Age of Enlightenment. Actually, ito ay medyo na-highlight nila Thomas Hobbes, ni John Locke, at ni John Jacques Rousseau. Men live in a primitive society when there is a war of every man against every man. Man sought peace and preservation of all humanity. Good person was corrupted. Man's type was solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. Man produced a standing rule to live by, and society is ruled by greed, lust, and violence. Out of this condition, the state was born. According to John Locke, man entered into contract to assure safety and peace, that life, liberty, and property may be enjoyed to the fullest. Out of this condition, the state was born. The contract is two-way. Nation-state got worse. To escape this cruel reality, men would give up some freedom to the state. I return the government, or the state, would offer people security through law and order. The contract is two-way. It's called for the agreement of the citizen to meet and discuss difficulties, consensus new as general will. Kung babalikan natin yung previous slide, mas maganda yung version ni John Jacques Rousseau regarding sa social contract. Ito naman yung inherent powers of the state or tinatawag nating permanent power ng gobyerno. Ano-ano nga ba ito? Number 1 is yung police power. Siyempre, kailangan niya ng government to limit, to regulate freedom and property rights of the individuals for their protection of public safety, health, and morals of the promotions of the public convenience and general prosperity. Kailangan yan eh. Kailangan ng peace and order. We also have the eminent domain, power to take private property for public use upon payment of just compensation. May karapatang bilhin ng gobyerno ang isang property as long as babayaran to at pumayag din naman yung may-ari na bilihin to sa kanya ng government. Taxation. Taxation, on the other hand, is power to impose tax on individuals and properties to support the government. Yung taxation, matagal na yan eh. Actually, it's tax nga is the lifeblood of government. Kung di lalagyan kasi ng tax sa mga bilihin and properties, hindi naman din magkakaroon ng pondo ang government. Para saan yung pondo ng government? To operate. Kailangan niya mag-operate eh. We have the kinds of taxations. Uniform taxation or persons or things belonging to the same class shall be taxed at the same rate. Lahat ng mayayaman para sa tax rate. Lahat ng mahirap para sa tax rate. In equitable taxation naman, tax burden must be imposed according to the taxpayer's capacity to pay. Ibig sabihin po, dito kung ano yung sasabihin na nagko-collect na amount ng tax nyo, yun yung ibibigay ninyo. Another, progressive taxation. As the resources of the taxpayer becomes higher, his rates likewise increase. Ganun lang yan. Example, kung ang sweldo mo ay malaki, malaki rin ang tax mo. I think in the Philippines, you are performing progressive taxation. Mas napopromote ka, mas lalaki ang tax mo. Mas yumayaman ka, lalaki tax mo. Then also, the concept of nations. According to Anderson, 1991, the social construction of the collective identity. Nation-state, meron defined borders and territories, same type of people exist, organized by race or background, then generally speaks on language. Pag sinabi nating nation-state, kailangan may border sa territory. Pangalawa, people of the same type. Pare-parehas ng lahi. Then, organized by race or background nga, parehas ang yan. Then, parehas ang ginagamit ng mga languages. Dito, balikan natin ha, ang Pilipinas ba may defined border and territories? Yes. Same type of people exist? Yes. Organized by race or background? Yes. Generally speaks on language? Yes. Therefore, Pilipinas ba ay nation state? Yes. Here's the difference between the state and nation. Sa state kasi, it's existed not only in the present but also in the ancient period. But the nation, it's a modern phenomenon. Sa state, it's a legal, political. Sa nation, racial, culture. Sa state, people organize for law within a definite territory. Sa nation naman, people psychologically join together with common will to live together. Sa state, a state must be sovereign. Sa nation, people continue as a nation even if they do not remain sovereign. Sa state, inhabited by the heterogeneous group of people, iba't iba yan, while in nation, inhabited by homogeneous group of people. Now let's go with globalization. Globalization, also known as global industrialism, process of forging international political, economic, religious, and social, cultural interconnections. Ito yung pagpapalawak ng isang bansa or nation-state sa iba pang nation-state. Globalization is a contested concept. There are three positions in this. First is the retreat from the state position. States are losing power and influence. Number 2, the state-centric position naman. States have even managed to expand the capacities, regulation, and control. Number 3, pragmatic position. Process of national transportation. States are winning and losing at the same time. So dyan, depende yan kung ano magiging agreement ng mga nations to each other. According to Sorensen, way back 2008, he argues that modern states are national economic or mayroon siyang national economy. National government should be a nation and has sovereignty. And Philippines, meron ba tayong national economy? Yes, check. Do we have a national government? Yes, check. Do we have can we consider our country as a nation? Yes, check. Malaya ba tayo? Standalone ba tayo? Yes, check. That's the end of our presentation for this day. And for our references, again, Tabahin and Pulma, Philippine Politics and Governance, Joven, Philippine Politics and Governance for Senior High School, some newspapers and internet from Google Images. You can make a message arnoldryamercado@gmail.com, and you can also like my Facebook page for this video, and like also my YouTube channel and subscribe. That's the link. I am your Educado teacher, Sir Arnold Ryan Mercado. Goodbye and thank you for listening.